Right, okay, so we're here before the game with Nottingham Forest fan.
Danny,
Score prediction for today. How hopeful are you?
relatively hopeful. We would take a draw, so I'm going to go for a 2-2.
2-2. And relegation this season, how confident or not confident are you this season?
If you asked me a few weeks ago, I'd say very confident that we would stay up. Now we're in a bit of a precarious predicament. I think with the new manager, we should hopefully kick on. A couple of new signings in January. I think we'll be okay.
What's your thoughts on the sacking as well? Would you have done that as well? Because obviously he's a massive fan favourite for you guys.
Oh, massive fan favourite. I don't think anyone really wanted to see him get sacked.
Was it the right move?
Time will tell, mate. Honestly, time will tell. I think we was all behind him, and we all wanted him to turn it round, Steve Cooper. But powers that be have made that decision now, so we have to get behind the new manager, and hopefully it turns out to be the right decision.
Is he the person you would have wanted?
To be honest with you, we didn't really have that much time to think about it. Who we wanted, or it was done within 24 hours, and we didn't really have. I didn't really have a chance to think about it. I think. Do
you think that was the case as well, or do you not think it was going on in the background a little bit?
It does seem that way, doesn't it? I think so. Yeah. Hopefully not too much in the background in terms of time, but I think it was a very fast 24 hours, and Nuno's got a good track record. So hopefully, we can start to kick on.
What can he do for your club as well? Because obviously your owner has got huge ambition. Can he match the ambition?
I don't think that Marinakis would have got him in if he think that he couldn't. I don't think it's a short-term thing. Obviously, managing Tottenham didn't really last that long, but he has gone there and he's done great things with Wolves. 7th place, that sort of top half of the table is what we need to be aspiring for in the next 2-3 seasons. So I think with his track record of getting sort of teams with the size and structure of ourselves and Wolves, maybe say top half, 7th place in the next couple of years would be fantastic.
January's just around the corner. Financial fair play, is that an issue for you guys? Because looking from the outside, you have spent a lot of money. I've obviously not got my feet on the ground with you guys. Is that a concern? 10-point deduction for Everton, bringing in the years a little bit?
To be honest, I couldn't really tell you. I don't know. You maybe ask Mr. Marinakis if you can get an interview with him, mate. I really don't know. Let's hope that they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Do you think there will be money then in that case to spend in January?
You would like to think so. I think that Nuno would have had some sort of funds promised to him. Otherwise, he might not have took the job. Maybe if it's 10 million or 100 million, we don't know. But I think he's going to have some sort of freedom to bring players in, or the club at least are going to have some freedom to bring players in.
Yeah. Now, you've taken a load of our rejects before in the past. Have you got any eyes in January for any Newcastle players?
I think Anthony Gordon's not really doing that great at the minute. I think we'll take him off your hands.
So a little loan or something.
Yeah, that's it.
Speaking
we'll have Lascelles back as well.
Yeah. I mean, he's getting in the team. He surprised a lot of Newcastle fans.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to live with someone who was a Nottingham Forest fan. It was the same time we signed Darlow as well.
Yeah,
Darlow was supposed to be an England international at the time.
That,
Lascelles is doing okay. What's your thoughts on them two as well?
Well, I don't know where even Darlow is anymore. Lascelles was great for us.
I think it's Leeds. I think he's on the bench for Leeds.
Says it all then, doesn't it? Lascelles now, I'm sure he'll get warm reception if he's playing today. Is he doubtful today, or is he?
There's a lot of injury doubts. I think he's got a doubt, but Botman's just coming back from injury. So
right, yeah, there you go. No, obviously great lads. We always want to see lads who have come through the academy do well. Hopefully not too well today, but no.
Can you rate them out of 10 as well? So under your badge as well. So John Joe Shelvey out of 10.
-5.
Chris Wood.
Oh, he gets a lot of stick, but he's popped up with some quite important goals. I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, and then who's your number 1 January target as well? Number 1.
I've not actually heard any rumours or anything.
Is there a position then that you think needs something?
Centre forward, 100%. Awoniyi, although he's quite close to 2-3 weeks away from getting fit, we honestly don't know where the goals are coming from. So centre forward, 100% needs to be the priority.
Can Chris Wood do some of that for you? I mean, he had a good game last week. It was against 10 men for a lot of it, I know. But
he seems to be doing all right. It's just I don't know if he's the right kind of player. Not very mobile, as you know, but he sort of knows where the goal is. I think he does a job, but he's not what we need now.
Right, okay then. So we're here with...
Des Oldham.
Dave Asprey.
Yeah, you got a big Twitter following, big Nottingham Forest fans that we're speaking to today, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Massive Reds fans. 30 years for myself.
A lot longer for me. I had trials with the club in the Brian Clough era, and my dad was on the scouting staff, so familial connections with Nottingham Forest, yeah.
Yeah, so before we jump into general questions, firstly today, what's your score prediction and how do you see this match going against Newcastle?
Wow, it's definitely going to be tough for Forest. I know both sides are desperately out of form and got a lot of injuries, so we're looking at it as a little bit of an opportunity to get the season back on track. And I know it's going to be tough, but my heart's saying we can nick a point. 1-1. I'll go for 1-1.
Yeah, it's a head and heart sort of thing. Head says, given the position that Newcastle are in the table, and despite the injuries, they've still got Anthony Gordon, Alexander Isak, Bruno Guimaraes, Dan Burn. They've still got the spine of a really good side. So the head says, the way we're playing at the moment, it's likely to be a Newcastle win, maybe 1-0, 2-1. But given the determination and attitude showed on Saturday after a fairly contentious red card, our lads showed a lot of spirit and fight. And if we can put that onto the field here today, you know, strange things happen in football, and we might yet get a strange occurrence here.
Yeah, so you've let go a fan favourite manager very recent. What's your opinions on that? Was that the right decision? Because obviously it's a result business. It was kind of going down, but he was hugely popular with you guys. Was it the right move, do you think?
I'm not sure. Do you know, something needed to change. The run of form has been really bad. Away from home, we just can't pick up wins since we returned to the Premier League. But in the past, Steve Cooper's managed to galvanise the squad at the most appropriate moments when we were absolutely in desperate situations. But at the moment, it just wasn't working. We'd have all loved him to stay on. He brought Premier League football back to us, which we've been desperate for so long. And he's given us some absolutely amazing memories and nights at the City Ground to remember. But like I say, something needed to change. And we've now got Nuno Espirito Santo and he's got Premier League experience, and hopefully that can take us away from the relegation zone. And only time will tell really at the end of the season. If we get relegated, we'll all be sort of hankering back to Steve Cooper and thinking we should have stuck with him and give him time like he had last season, but the results just haven't been happening. So time will tell on this one, I think.
Waiting for the hindsight to kick in. The hindsight is the most exact tool you'll get.
Would you have done it then? Ask it another way. Would you have clicked it and get another manager?
I personally would not. My view is that I certainly spent 25 years or however long waiting for the one guy that would come and give us genuine, tangible progress. And Steve gave us that. And as Des has alluded to, there's so many wonderful memories, you know, Wembley and then promotion and then survival, and you know it's been a struggle. There's been a turnover of players, which is not always helpful, which goes back to loan players when we were in the Championship. Would I have pulled the trigger? I don't know. I'm a soft heart. I'm a sentimentalist. Maybe I wouldn't have, but
would he have kept you up if you'd would you been confident that he would have kept you up?
Oh, well, given that the way the results were going, Des's point is absolutely valid, that you can go so many times around the buoy, if you like, but something did have to change. And what you have to take into account is our owner is incredibly ambitious. Our owner kind of looks at the likes of Aston Villa and Brighton and Hove Albion and thinks, I wouldn't mind a piece of that. So I think our owner's ambition and where we are isn't necessarily matching up at the moment. So to me, it was when it happened, I kind of felt it was sadly inevitable, but I've got so much to thank Steve for, and he's a huge fan favourite. And the hindsight at the end of the season might be that Steve is perhaps sitting somewhere else safe in the Premier League and we might not be there. So that's our doomsday scenario. But again, only time will tell.
So the king is dead, long live the new king. What's your thoughts on the new guy as well? Do you think he'll be able to save you from promotion, or are you fearful of relegation?
Fearful, possibly. It's getting ever closer. Wins for Luton and Burnley just before Christmas have meant it's just 2 points now, so it's definitely going to be tough. We've got a tough game here today, and we've got Manchester United. For us out of form there, that'll be a tough game for us as well. So we've got a run of really tough fixtures. So like I said before, something's got to change. Nuno's got that experience. He's been down at the bottom of the Premier League before with Wolves and done a really good job with them. Of course, he went to Spurs and it didn't quite work out, although he had a good win ratio. So he knows how to win Premier League matches, and that's going to be key at the end of the season. He's got to get that win ratio up, which was sadly lacking for Steve Cooper, and I think we'll just about do it. We need some of the key players back. Taiwo Awoniyi is a massive player for Forest. He won't play today, and we won't have much of an attacking threat. We've got Chris Wood, as you well know. He's not prolific anymore.
Scored your last game though,
Probably his
comes
best.
up every now and then.
Probably his best game for Forest, and hopefully he's getting into form for this one. But we're not prolific at that end of the pitch. We've got a lot of injuries. When we get Taiwo Awoniyi back, he makes all the difference. He takes some of the pressure off the defence of the midfield and presses team back. He's a nuisance. He gets amongst them. So I think if he comes back sort of early in the new year, he'll score enough goals to keep Forest in the Premier League.
And is he the man that you would have picked if you could have picked the manager coming in? Is he the one that you would go for?
I don't think he was a name that leapt off the page. But to be honest with you, there weren't many names that really did kind of... In fact, the pool of elite managers or managers for this level seems to be diminishing as we go along. But do I think we'll stay up? I really don't know. I still have my suspicions that the recruitment isn't as good. A lot of them came in and they had a good game, like Murillo's had a good game here and there, Dominguez had a good game here and there, but they haven't done it consistently enough. I feel at the moment our most consistent player is Harry Toffolo, who's a lad who's come from Lincoln and through Huddersfield and has really worked hard to get where he is. Now, we want some of our apparently more glamorous players to start stepping up to the mark. We've spent a lot of money, and a lot of these guys now need to start thinking to themselves, I'm going to live up to the feat. Morgan Gibbs-White actually for us does do that. Now, Morgan is probably going to play today, and he kind of is going to be our key player. He himself perceives that he's a key player. We need some of the others to do it. Again, we're into imponderables at the moment. If we get something here which would be a terrific stepping stone, anything here would be incredible, and then to getting something against United on Saturday, then we might see. But the longer it goes like this, the more you do have to be fearful.
Yeah, you mentioned as well that you spent a lot of money. Now, my feet aren't on the ground with you guys, so I don't know the insides and outsides. Everton have got a massive dock of points because of financial fair play. I know that from looking from the outside, you guys have spent a lot of money. You will probably know the books a little bit better. Is that a concern, financial fair play, or is that not something that's on the radar yet? Or
I think it could be, possibly, but selling Brennan Johnson to Tottenham was one of the key reason for selling him. Not that I think anybody at the club really wanted to sell him, because he's such a hot prospect and one of our own. One of the key reasons is how it works, financial fair play. We got 50 million quid for him, but
is that a good price for him, do you think?
It's a great price, but on the books, apparently it's worth something like 150 million.
Yeah, homegrown player at 50 million.
Player, so it kind of staves that off a little bit. And again, we've bought in one or two, we've sold one or two, and the owner, to his credit, well, it didn't feel like to his credit, but even in building the club, we've sold good young players like Matt Cash in the past for good fees and got good pricing. So hopefully it shouldn't be a thing, especially if we get relegated. That's the worry, of course. If we go back into the Championship and you've got all these key players.
The Johnson deal was crucial. We loved him. He was kind of like, for guys of my age, Brennan's almost like our nephew on the field.
If I give it a bit of context, so we do this every year. We did this last year, and we asked Nottingham Forest fans who's the best player and stuff. Now, at the time, you'd signed all sorts of superstars, and every single person we said was him. So, how much
still
of a
not the complete player yet?
Yeah.
I think when he, under Ange now, he was terrific for us, and he's been with our club, our family for so long. And already I'm beginning to see progressions in Brennan's game that he'll get from playing at, with all due respect to our club, Tottenham, at a different level. And working with a guy like Ange Postecoglou, and he's playing with Sonny, and he's playing with Kulusevski, and he's going to be playing with James Maddison. These guys are bound to rub off on him, and I already see Brennan improving his game from what he was.
How far can he go, do you think? Because obviously you'll have seen him week in, week out. What's his potential?
I think he can go a long way. Obviously, he plays for Wales already. I think he can be their main man in the way Gareth Bale has for many years. Once he sort of becomes that complete player Dave's talking about, and it's coming out now. There was a lot of questions when he was at Forest. He was played as a central striker when we needed him to. Not his best position. Back out on that right-hand side in an attacking Spurs side, with good quality players around him. I think he can really go a long way. And I don't, if he carries on, I think it won't be too long before even bigger clubs than Spurs might come knocking, and that just shows how good he is. He's got
an essential quality, a gift if you like. He's got searing pace. He can move. He's one of the most, you see certain footballers and they're almost like ballet dancers. I always kind of think of Phil Foden, what a beautiful mover across the football field. And Brennan Johnson has a similar quality. At full speed, Brennan Johnson is a hell of a sight.
So young as well.
Absolutely.
So
And he like we know ourselves, having watched him, he's not the complete article. Whether he can be a Bale or not is questionable, because Bale was very, very special. But I do believe he's got some extra, compartments to open up and some extra gears to go to. And he's a wonderful player. And it was interesting. He came back with Tottenham a couple of weeks ago to our place, and his night didn't go great because he came off with a bang on the head. But the reception he got when he came off, he's still very special to us. But the truth of the matter is, for all the sentimentality, Steve Cooper is not our manager anymore. Brennan Johnson is not our our golden boy anymore, and we have to move forward now, and that's the nature of life as well as football,
Well, speaking of moving forward, so we've had Christmas out the way. Very shortly is the January transfer window. We've mentioned financial fair play. Are you guys expecting to have deep pockets for this? And who's your number one target and what position?
Not quite sure who the number one target is, because there doesn't seem to be many of them around, but we need another number 9.
Yeah.
We need somebody who can come in and score goals when Tyro's not in the team, or push him for a place when he is in the team. That's got to be the priority. I'd expect another flurry of signings. It seems every transfer window, since we made the 30 signings at the start of last season, we were talking about 3 or 4, and we ended up with 13 in the summer. So it's the owner's way. There's a new manager in place. You'd expect him to want to put his stamp on the squad. He's already talking about weaknesses in defence, which we've definitely got. So if we're struggling there and we're struggling up front, there's definitely additions to be made and to get us out of this predicament we're in.
Yeah, I also think, no disrespect to the guys who are doing the job at the moment, but I think we need a better goalkeeper. We've had our goalkeeping, we've been spoilt in recent years. We had Brice Samba, we had Dean Henderson for a while, we had the excellent Kayla Navas on loan last year, who was a crucial part of us staying up. Our guys this year, they've been sort of chopped and changed, but they've been chopped and changed because they can't find consistency. In fact, you could level that at most of our squad. They haven't put a consistent run of good performances together. So I think absolutely a striker, because if you can't score, you can't compete. We need to defend better, so maybe some more cover at the back, and we need to keep them out. So, as to targets, I don't know. I'd love to say to you that we're going to now head into a plateau of stability, not instability. We've had too much instability, but we're kind of mirroring. I go back to Brighton and Hove Albion. They had their first 4 seasons in the Premier League. I think they were 15th, 17th, 15th, and 16th. We maybe have to, like them, pay our dues by going through that grind, and they had a turnover of players, and we're doing the same. And I'm with Des. I expect more to come in January. I kind of wish that wasn't the case. But when guys are not putting their hands up and making good performances, then the owner is entitled to say, well, if you're not doing the job, I'm going to go and get somebody else to do it.
And then last question, just a number out of 10 here, because you've had a couple of Newcastle, I'll not call them rejects, but kind of off-cast a little bit. I want you to rate them out of 10 quickly. So John Joe Shelvey out of 10.
0.
0.
1.
1. And then Chris Wood, he's still performing for you guys at the minute, still getting on the pitch.
He didn't start too well. He's scored in a couple of games this season, and 4.
He's a guy who's a good guy. He's a leader in the dressing room. I know he's part of our senior professionals group and has been under Steve, and I guess he'll be doing a similar thing under New now. Woody gives the lot every time he plays. I think sometimes the attitude and the effort hasn't been matched by actual product on the field. But if we're going by, if people are only as good as their last game, Woody's last game was his best game for Nottingham Forest, and I'm giving him a 6. But I think, he could go to a 7. It'd be really interesting today for him, psychologically, coming back here, how much it means to him and how much of that passion to want to prove the people in this ground wrong, how much of that he takes onto the... I wrote him off a couple of weeks ago on a podcast. I said he was a light of former years, which is very harsh. And then typically, because I'm monumentally wrong on so many occasions, he came and he played a really good game at the weekend. So I'm giving him a 6.
Last minute winner for Chris Wood.
Yeah.
1-0
We'll
Forest.
clip that one up just in case.
He'll be up to an 11 then, like Spinal Tap turning the amp up to 11 then.
Okay, right. Okay, so we're here with Nottingham Forest fan.
Ben.
Ben, so firstly, before we get into the generalisation of your club and stuff like that, what's your score prediction for today?
I'll take a point.
Point, yeah.
1-1 I'll take, but coming in, Newcastle, they've got a good home record, and we've not got a great away record. We've won away this season, but listen, a draw away from home, we're near bottom 3. Listen, a point, then we can carry on for the next game.
Yeah, you mentioned there you're near the bottom 3. You've got a new manager in charge. Before we touch on that, how likely do you think it is that you'll go down or stay up this season? You had to put money on it.
Listen, Premier League's tough, but on paper, we've got a good team.
Yeah.
It's all about are they going to do it on the pitch. So I think the 3 teams are already there are worse than us, but teams like Luton, they're playing well. Sheffield United got a new manager as well. Right now, on form-wise, we deserve to go down. But if January we bring some better players in, I think we'll definitely stay up. But listen, we've got the new manager, Nuno. Can he keep us up? I think we can.
Was he the guy you wanted to replace, or would you have picked someone else when you knew Steve Cooper was going?
With Nuno's record, without Wolves, he's got a fantastic record. The way he was at Spurs, not great. But you've got to look at his record that he did for Wolves, got him in 7th back-to-back, European football. Would I take that? Why not? All 5 will take that. But listen, time will tell, because Premier League is brutal. And like today's game, if I get a point, why not?
Yeah, Premier League is brutal, and so is your owner. He's very ambitious. He's obviously spent a lot of money. Was it the right decision? It's a result business. It was kind of going on the decline. Do you think Steve Cooper could have fetched it around? Was it the right thing to do?
Listen, all we can say, our owner, he's been fantastic for us. He's pumped in so much money for Nottingham Forest. Was it right for him to get rid of Steve Cooper? We all know what Steve Cooper has done for Nottingham Forest. It's absolutely fantastic. But winning the Premier League, and I said it's a brutal business. Result wasn't going our way. 1 win in 14. It had to come. But time will tell at the end of the season. It was the right choice or not. And like I said, Steve Cooper will always be a legend for Nottingham Forest. But we've got to move forward. Like I said, our owner, he's always backed us since we got promoted. And listen, we can't say a bad word about Mr. Marinakis.
Now, I'm not a Nottingham Forest fan, so I don't know the inside track and stuff like that, but it seems obviously since the new owner's come in, a lot of money's been spent. Everton's been done with financial fair play. Is that a concern for you guys, or are you staying within it? How do you guys see that? You'll know a bit more than me.
I think it will always be a concern for Nottingham Forest. And the financial fair play, I think it happens to all clubs. We spent so much money on the club.
10-point deduction for Everton. That's probably scared a lot of
Listen,
clubs.
our owner knows how to do it, but it's always going to be tough for us.
Yeah, and then with that in mind, do you think there's going to be much budget in January? Are you expecting a big budget, a war chest to get you out of it?
It's not going to be big as in the past, but if we can bring at least 2 or 3 players in who are good, why not?
Who would you want as well? You talk about 2 players. What positions firstly, and then what are the players?
I think we'll definitely bring in a striker. We need a striker to score goals for us. So a striker, maybe I definitely need a new goalkeeper as well. So goalkeeper and a striker will definitely sort us out.
Any names?
A world-class goal striker. A world-class striker will do us. And listen, I don't mind. We need someone who's proven striker and a proven goalkeeper.
Yeah, you mentioned as well, because obviously it's not necessarily down to you whether you get relegated, it's down to the other teams as well. Luton is doing fantastic. You mentioned you've got a new manager bounce. Sheffield's got a new manager bounce. Who do you think is going to be the bottom 3 in the kind of reverse order this?
Luton, Sheffield United, and...
Do you think Luton bottom, or who do you think is going to finish bottom?
Burnley.
Burnley, yeah.
Burnley will definitely go down.
Does that surprise you? Because everyone had them thinking, they're going to be having the best of the 3 promoted teams at the start of the season.
I just don't like the way they play football. Yeah. I just don't like, they walk the championship, but the Premier League is a different kind of fish. And January is going to be important for the bottom 3 teams, but are they going to get good players to suit the Premier League? I don't think so. So personally, I think Burnley, Sheffield United. I don't want to say Luton. But I think Luton will go down.
Does it give you guys a massive advantage? Everyone talks about experience at fighting relegation. You guys have had that now. Obviously, the rest of them haven't. They've just been promoted. Does that give you a massive advantage going into the
It does. Yeah. It does. But for one guy this season, is like I said, it's not been great. So, like I said, it's important. It's important that players that we bring in January. Like I said, I mentioned the goalkeeper, and I definitely need a striker to score goals because we missed someone like Tyrone, who's been scoring goals for fun.
Huge player.
Who's played for us. So, if we can get a decent striker in, I think we can stay up. Not just, but listen, the Premier League's brutal, and we just need to stay clear from bottom three.
What is the ambition with the new manager as well? Because obviously we know the owner's ambition is probably sky high. Is that realistic with him? Can he take it up to 10th next season, or how do you kind of see next season going?
Listen to me. I think if I said top 10, then I'm thinking, oh, it's crazy if I said that. But listen, it's just the best thing is
Slow progress then, or
there's a few teams like you mentioned, Brighton and Burnley. They've been in the Premier League for 5 years now. So every team I've got a plan, but all plans don't work, does it? So would I say stay in the Premier League?
Yeah.
That's all in mind. Stay in the Premier League, and if we do get top 10, it's a bonus for all Forest fans because we miss it. I know in the past we've done European days, but just stay in the Premier League. That's all that matters.
yeah, and then just outside perspective as well. Newcastle, what's your thoughts on them this season? Knocked out of the Champions League, knocked out of the Cup. Where do you think they're going to finish in the Premier League as well?
Listen, I've been impressed with Newcastle. Like I said, Champions League football. I felt sorry for him getting knocked out of it as well. But I think the ambition is top 4. They've got so much money in them with the new owners and that. So if they get top 4, I know they've got quite a lot of injuries as well. I like Gordon. He's a nice, good winger. And as well, is it Lewis Miley?
Yeah,
Miley, 17 years old, top player as well. If they get top 4, I think they can progress. But I know their form has not been great. So listen, I like Newcastle. Top 4 for me.
Top 4. And then last question as well. I want you to rate out of 10. So you've taken some of our outcasts a little bit. So John Joe Shelvey under Nottingham Forest, out of 10, what would you rate him?
0.
0, yeah. And then Chris Wood, he still gets in for you. How would you rate him out of 10?
6.